I trained my friends for 30 days to prove whether or not I was a good speed coach. I knew that if I didn't make them faster, I might have to give up and change careers. But the results ended up being super surprising. We started out really strong with our first testing day. Braden clocked in at a 14:36, Kellen with a 13:97, Cannon with a 13:51, and Zach with a 12:49, all hand timed. But I went through the footage afterward, frame by frame, to figure out exactly what times they ran. They ended up with Braden at a 14:26, Kellen with a 14, Cannon with a 13:5, and Zach with a 12:43, which gave me a really wide range of ability to work with. Right after that, we got to work. The first week was focused on general strengthening and preparatory work to get their bodies ready for the harder exercise we were going to have to do later on. We did extensive plyometrics to expose their tendons to spring forces, as well as injury prevention work like balance drills to try to keep them healthy for the weeks to come. But in week 2, disaster struck. Zach went on vacation, Cannon ran over his own foot at work, Braden started having Achilles pain from distance running he was doing on the side, and Kellen got a sore quad because we were forced to build into max speed sprinting a lot sooner than I would have preferred due to the nature of the 30-day challenge. So I had to make a plan. Zach agreed to train on his own on vacation, and the other ones just took a couple days off to recover and make sure I didn't make anything worse. The training that we did get in, I made sure to reduce the volume and take away some of the general strength work to make sure we could recover properly in between sessions. Our focus in sessions was rate of force development with an emphasis on acceleration. Moving into week 3, our emphasis was developing spring in our tendons and muscles and really focusing on form during max velocity. I was starting to get really nervous because my friends kept missing sessions due to work and other obligations, and I really wanted to find out if I was an effective speed coach or not. During this week, I did manage to get a really good breakthrough with my fastest friend's form, and I was super excited to see if his time was going to drop. Then, going into week 4, I got some terrible news. Braden, my friend with a bad Achilles, had to drop out of the challenge. The pain had come and gone during the month, but eventually he had to call it quits because the distance running he was doing was too much. So now I only had 3 athletes to work with and 1 more training session until our test day. In our last session, we did a little bit of drill work focusing on maximum velocity, ran 1 shorter sprint, and finally did 1 sprint of a slightly longer duration just so that they knew what to expect from the 100-meter sprint coming later that week. And finally, the day arrived. We showed up and warmed up, and then it was go time. They all ran their final trials, and the results blew my mind. Our second fastest guy, Cannon, ran a 13:12, which was 0.38 seconds faster than his original time. Our fastest guy, Zach, ran a 12.03, which was 0.4 seconds faster than his original time. But most surprising of all was the slowest of the 3, Kellen, because he was no longer the slowest of the 3. He took his time from a 14 flat to a 12.83, which was a 1.17 second improvement in only 30 days. This is just completely insane to me. I was hoping and praying that we might drop 0.2 seconds average across the board, and instead we dropped an average of 0.65 seconds. Added up between the 3 guys, we almost dropped a total of 2 seconds in only 30 days and 9 training sessions. It is super important, of course, to keep in mind that these guys weren't doing sprint training before, so it makes sense they might have had greater adaptations than someone who is already well trained, but this was completely beyond anything I imagined. And it just goes to show you what simple, evidence-based training can achieve for you in a really short period of time, as well as the power of not just pounding your athletes into the dirt day after day. The happiest athletes are often going to be the best performing and improving ones. And if you push your athletes to exhaustion every single day, they are probably not going to be happy campers. All of the guys that I worked with for this challenge said they want to keep training with me from time to time, so I think I did an okay job of keeping them happy throughout this challenge. If you want access to the exact training program I put these guys through, I will have a link to it right at the top of the description. I do want to reiterate that this is not exactly how I would train athletes in the long term. I would build into things more slowly and include a lot more strength training and movement quality work in the program. However, the results do seem to speak for themselves, so if you want to give this a try, please be my guest. If you have any questions about training, you can always leave a comment down below or DM me on Instagram or Twitter. And if you need more complex or in-depth information, I also offer 20-minute coaching calls where I do my best to answer any questions that you have, and that will be linked in the description as well. I'm so thrilled with how this turned out, and I'm super grateful that I got this opportunity to prove to myself and to my athletes that I was a capable coach. If you want to be fast, it's so important to do things correctly, but so many of us make loads of mistakes. If you want to maximize your speed, make sure you check out this video next, where I talk about 5 mistakes that could be ruining your speed. Thank you for watching.